Hi, this is Kevin from Automation Hero. In this use case video, we're going to run through a simple invoice approval process. We start by pulling the invoices into the system. We then read those invoices through OCR techniques. We then run through an approval cycle with those invoices. And once complete, we'll then output the approvals ready for ingestion into the backend system. Let's jump into the demo. Okay, so here we start with our Robyn interface. I'm just in the login screen at the minute. I'm just going to log in as the finance user. And as I come in, the finance user has access to see all the queues set up in this example. So I have the initial approval queue for the finance user to check the code in. Then I have a couple of different levels of approval for different users, depending on things like the amount of the invoice and level status if it needs further approval. If I just come through to the beginning, I've got some PDF documents of the invoices themselves. So if I just open up a couple of these, so here we can see they're just fairly standard invoices, nothing too exciting. Just open up another one. So just standard PDF invoices here. I've got them in a S3 file system. It could be from email or via a partner portal, whichever you need. And now I'm just going to kick off the initial flow. So we've got a number of flows, but I'm going to kick off this invoices flow. So this is actually reading the invoices. So this is ingesting them from that S3 connection. Then it's doing a OCR read against those invoices to pull out the key information, running any validation logic and things that we need against them as it goes through, and then sending them through to Robyn. So if I now come back to our Robyn list, and if I just refresh that page, I can now see those 10 invoices are now sat here for approval. So as the finance user, I come in here and I can see my list view of the invoices that have just been read. I could, for example, filter by supplier if I wanted to narrow that list. In this case, I'm just going to work through the list of invoices here. So I can see I've got 10 items to work through. I've got supplier, invoice number, invoice date, PO number, all the standard fields that we'd expect from an invoice is what we've extracted off this document. We've also done a bit of a lookup to match against the nominal code and department code here. And we're just showing a bit of history that we've already processed this through and the date and time that we process that through. The current approver is set to finance. So in this case, our finance user is happy that we can approve, and they can add a comment here if they want to. I'm just going to quickly go through and approve these invoices initially. And it's worth noting this is fully customizable for each customer's use case. So it's quite a simple process in this demo, but it could be a bit more advanced if needed. So as I've run through those, I can see they're all sat there and waiting to be submitted at this case. So they've already gone through and they're just waiting for another flow to pick them up. Because this is a demo system, at the minute I haven't got things running, but I'm just going to set these to essentially check every 15 seconds as we run through. They'll just pick up automatically as things are processed. So if I refresh this page, I'm still logged in as the finance user at the minute. I can see that those ones from approval, I started with 10. I've now got 8 sat at level 2. So 2 of them were below a certain value, I think 5,000 in this case. So they could just be approved and pushed straight through. So I'm just going to log out and log in as one of my approvers. So I'm logging in as Clark. He can only see level 2, so he can see those 8 tasks in here. He can come in, click on the item, and he can see that finance approved it and the date and time that they approved it. In this case, Clark is fine to go through and approve these. But say, for example, he wasn't happy with something and he wanted to reject it, he could maybe put something else in and a comment in for other users to see as they go through. So they've gone through, and because the queues are automatically being checked as we go through, we can see the tasks have updated there already. So I'm just going to now log in as our 3rd level approver and see a number of tasks have already come through. Again, a number of them met the criteria to be sent for approval already, so they haven't come through to level 3. So I think the level 3 approval level set to 20,000 at the minute, but again, that's fully customizable. So in here we've just got the higher value invoices and things to see. We can see again when Clark approved these and things in there. So again, we can run through here, and then maybe with this one as needed, really, depending on what the process is. And just go through and approve these last ones. Okay, and now if I log back out, and I'll log back in as the finance user who can see that initial queue, we'll see a couple of the items, the ones that we rejected, have come back to that initial queue. So as we come in here, we can see these items here. If I click on that, I can now see this one was rejected by Bruce. It's saying that, you know, it wasn't delivered. So in this case, finance can add another comment to it, mark it as rejected, and carry on. In this case, they might again say that they're happy with it, or they might just mark it as rejected and push it through. As part of that process, they're all going through. Once approved, what actually happens with the invoices as they're processed is they then get passed out into the S3. So in this case, we're just passing them out as CSV files. So if I just refresh this, we can see we've got the rejected ones come through, and we've also got the approved ones in here. We're passing them both out as CSVs and also as XMLs. And then at the end of the process, when we want to, we can then run this final flow. And what this final flow is doing is collating all that CSV output from the approved invoices and creating our end of day update for our backend system. I'll just run that through. And if I refresh this, see we've got that collated CSV file here. So here I can see these invoices that went through, the ones that we approved. So 8 out of the 10 we approved. We can see all that. Key information needed, the various stages of approval that they went through, depending on what the criteria and things was in there. And if any comments have been added, they would show up here as well. Thank you for watching this use case demo of the invoice approval process. As I say, very customizable for any scenario, and wish you happy automations.